I'd like to call to order the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And we have agendas at the back table, please, and we have our little speaker cards here at the back table, so if you could get those.
Raphael may not come. We're missing Dale and Diane.
Could we do a roll call, Irving? Thank you.
Sure. Chair Linda Lopez.
Here.
Vice Chair Rafael Avendaño. Councilmember Laura Kaplan.
And here?
Councilmember Beatriz Cerrillo.
Here.
Councilmember Dale Miller. Councilmember Esperanza Vasquez.
Present.
Youth Member Diane Zermeño. And then alternate youth member Jose Rodriguez.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Public comment. We have one slip that was submitted. Madeline Kane, if you'd like to go up to the podium. And you actually have about 2 minutes to tell us what you want to tell us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maddie Kane. Thank you all for having me. I'm here tonight to invite all of you to join us at a unique and powerful community building event that's going to be happening in this room next Thursday night. And that invitation is open to the audience, the council, everyone. We're trying to get as many people from diverse parts of our community as we can together to have a community dinner and dialogue. And the idea is to bring everyone together to share our family stories of immigration mostly, but also to talk about other difficult topics, give people who don't often have the chance to really speak to each other and connect with each other the chance to do so, and to try to build better understanding in community relations across the entirety of Redwood City and North Fair Oaks. We'll feature a lot of youth artwork, and we have a bunch of community facilitators. There's going to be, we're providing dinner, childcare, and translation. It's free and open for all. So just really would love to see anyone there who's interested. Again, it's going to be next Thursday, January 29th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. in this room. And if you have any questions, sorry?
Here.
Yes, in this exact room. If you have any questions, I can leave my information for you all. But I forgot to mention I'm a community engagement coordinator at Redwood City 2020. That's the connection. So we run a welcoming initiative called Redwood City Together, the goal of which is to establish a culture of inclusion all the way across Redwood City and North Fair Oaks. So I can leave my information for you, but I hope to see some of you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we will go to the approval of minutes for November 26th. Oh, wait a second. November 20th minutes, right?
Yes, it's actually 20.
Yeah, November 20th. And we got these pretty good, we got these way ahead of time, so thank you for that, Irving. But if you still need a few minutes to look at them.
I was absent.
I thought they were nicely done, and I move that we accept these minutes.
Okay. Is there a motion? There's a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to approve minutes of November 20th? All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
I abstain.
One abstention. Okay, thank you. Okay. This, tonight, if you've noticed, we're splitting up the meeting from 7 to 8. We're going to cover what you see on this agenda, action items, and the reports to council. And then we're going, and I don't have the second part of the agenda. We're going to, I guess, were you going to pass those out?
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock? Okay, all right, that's fine. We have one action item on the agenda today, and it's consideration of a resolution to amend the council bylaws by modifying the membership requirements to include the representative or owner of a business, institution, or other agency located in the North Fair Oaks area. I'll give a real brief background on this. It was brought to my attention that there might be some interest of school district employees to actually work on the council, participate on the council. And it was brought to my attention through Supervisor Slocum's office that our bylaws, the school districts are considered institutions and not a business, typical business. And our bylaws do not apply to them. So that's why we talked about doing an amendment to our bylaws to revise the requirements. So this is going to, I'm going to make, well, actually, I'm going to open it up to questions, but this is related to Article 3, Membership, Section 2 in your bylaws, if you want to take a look at that. And actually, I'll just open it up to questions about this, if people think it's a good idea. It's a very small change, but could be a big impact on future participation. So I'll just open it up to questions. Anybody have questions?
Well, I don't have a question, but just to restate that currently the bylaws say a person to participate on the council must be either a resident of North Fair Oaks or representing the owner of a business in North Fair Oaks. And we are looking, and we have discussed this, so there's not a lot of discussion because we have discussed this at a previous meeting. And this resolution would open it up to representatives and employees of agencies and institutions, which would
Right.
include
Right.
schools
And even
nonprofits.
the health clinic.
And health clinic.
Health clinic. So, and what a great thing to be able to get representatives from those two institutions to participate if they wish. I would hate to see something in the bylaws prevent that from happening. So what I'll do is actually the language, if you don't have your bylaws in front of you, the current language is that bylaws require that the council be composed of individuals who are either residents, homeowners, or renters of the North Fair Oaks area, or representatives of owners of a business located in North Fair Oaks. So I would actually like to, if there's no other questions or discussion, I'd like to present the resolution or the recommendation that the council recommend the adoption of amending the membership requirements, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendment. How do they do that? How do they do that?
I will move to amend to the
Accept the
bylaws, to accept the resolution to amend the bylaws as stated.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. So there's a motion to actually approve the recommendation that will lead to a resolution. And there's a second. Any further discussion on the motion? And everyone understands clearly what that is? Okay.
Well, I do have a question. Is this only for people who are going to be working for the district exclusively?
Okay, it could be the school district, or it could be someone from the from the Fair Oaks Health Center.
Our school.
Only exclusive to those?
Right, it's
locations?
those, It's those organizations that are in North Fair Oaks, working with North Fair Oaks families that are not considered a business. They're considered institutions.
Working for the county.
No, well,
So I
the
just wanna
county could
make a
also, actually, that's a
clarification.
good point.
Yeah, so just a clarification, under like the memo, it says to allow appointment individuals that own or represent institutions or agencies in the North Fair Oaks area.
Well, that is a good question about the county. At one point, we had a county employee who was interested in joining the council. So would this apply to the county?
Yeah, the intent was to revise it to be broad enough to cover anyone who is working for any type of organization that's located in your community. So it could be the school district, it could be the health clinic, it could be a future nonprofit organization that opens down the street, it could be a county agency that has an office in the area. The idea is that it will be flexible enough to work for you over time going forward. And it's not necessarily, although there's a specific reason that it came up now, it's not intended to be limited to any one organization, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's clear now. This,
Okay.
then
So-
am I in favor?
Oh, so there's a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, the motion carries to recommend the adoption of the amended bylaws to the Board of Supervisors. And there is an actual outline of the resolution. I can read this if people like. You should have a copy in front of you. And this will be the resolution that's presented to the Board of Supervisors. And when is that going to happen? Is that March or?
No, it's going to happen next month.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, very good. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, actually, I should have this on a stand. I'm doing this to me. Okay, we're at reports to council. Yeah, supervisors report.
Good evening, council. I'm going to be reporting on behalf of Supervisor Slocum. Just want to mention a couple of things. So next month, the Poet Laureate is going to be launching another poetry campaign, and the theme for the month of February is love. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to contact our office. There's going to be a set of requirements in terms of filling out this poem. And yeah, I look forward to any submissions, and you can just contact my colleague Marcy for any more further information regarding that. And today, the San Mateo County had, through HSA, coordinated a homeless one-day count. And so I actually participated. And so basically, it was an opportunity for me, along with a homeless guy, to go to a specific area in Redwood City to just identify the number of people who are either living in tents or living in RVs or who are homeless. And so that occurred this morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. On February 12th, Supervisor Slocum, along with the Redwood City Fair Oaks Library, is going to be hosting a welcome reception for the new Redwood City Library Director. And so for any questions, please feel free to give me a call. You can also visit Eventbrite, the website, to sign up. I'll be more than gladly to send an invite again to the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And so that's going to be on Thursday, February 12th, at the Fair Oaks Library from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I just want to just emphasize to the council that the county received a total of 317 letters of intent for Measure A funding. And so it's going to go through a process. And so I'll definitely provide an update to the council at the next month's North Fair Oaks Community Council meeting. And that is all I have. Well, one more thing. So next Wednesday, we're going to be, Supervisor Slocum's going to be meeting with representatives of Surf Air to talk about just the issue that's been going on with Fair Oaks in terms of the noise that this Surf Air, I guess, has been causing for these neighborhoods. So we're going to have a meeting next Wednesday with them. I'll provide that information. It's going to be at the town of Atherton at 11 a.m. And that is all I have to report. Yeah. And
Thank you, Irving. There is a question that came up at a meeting last night about City of Atherton's intention to do some safety lights at Selby and El Camino. We can get a follow-up on that?
Sure.
If you're going to be mingling with City of Atherton, I guess that's a good
Sure, I'll contact
time
the
to
town of
find
Atherton.
out. And one other question, the homeless count that's been done, I think they started that about, 10 years ago? They've been doing it for about 10 years. I believe that number is used to justify that, the funds for the homeless shelters.
And
So
also, like,
I mean, it's a good thing to justify what the needs are,
Mm-hmm.
but also to actually see, when are those numbers going to be out? Do you know?
I believe it's going to be sometime in the next couple of months. So I don't know the exact month, but I will definitely follow up
And
with
did
that
you find
information.
more individuals or any families or?
I found more
Yeah.
encampments.
Oh, encampments.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
the tents, and so, yeah. So that was
Yeah.
pretty much my experience in terms of the area this morning where I was at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are different counties also doing this? Because I think I heard something on
Yes.
the radio.
San Francisco, I believe, is going to do one in the next couple of weeks. So,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, Lieutenant Reed, Sheriff's Report?
Good evening, council members. Thank you for having me again this evening. I have the December stats, and then it's my understanding that I'll be reporting out to the council quarterly from here on. So what I have is I have the stats from the month of December like I would normally present to you. And then when I come back in March or April, whichever Warren Irving tells me I'm supposed to come to, then I'll do a quarterly report out. Pretty much the same information, but kind of run for the quarter that way, okay? So quickly, just running through the parking citations. I know it's always a sore subject here in North Fair Oaks. Parking's at a premium. We wrote 500 parking tickets in the month of December, which is actually pretty good when you figure the holidays and everything, that the CSOs were off on a couple of holidays. They still put out a very good showing. 392 of those parking citations were for street sweeping violations.
Wow.
Cars parked when the streets are supposed to be swept. Again, I know that that's always a big issue. We marked 10 abandoned vehicles, blocked 43 fire hydrant blocking tickets, 17 in a crosswalk, 10 on a sidewalk, and then 14 for 2 hours on Middlefield. That number's down just a little bit, but when we're doing 392 street sweeper tickets, we're not on Middlefield writing tickets there. So, the guys have to kind of spread their time somewhere. There's only 2 of them down here. So that's probably why the number's down a little bit on the parking on Middlefield. And so running forward from that, actually it's been a good month. Nobody got, there was no murders in North Fair Oaks, which is always good. 1 robbery, 4 assaults, 7 residential burglaries, 6 auto burglaries. And actually a relatively quiet month, only 3 domestic violence reports taken. And felony arrest 6, you'll see that number will drop, is down now and will stay down since the passage of Prop 47. Many of the felonies that people were arrested for in the North Fair Oaks area are no longer felonies since the passage of Prop 47. So they'll be receiving misdemeanor citations for the most part and be cited out and back on the street right then. So if you look back like a year, we'll go back a year or two, start looking at stats, you'll see a pretty dramatic drop in felony arrests due to Prop 47 and the changing of the laws. 29 misdemeanor arrests for a total of 35 in the North Fair Oaks area. This week, starting yesterday, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the San Mateo County Gang Task Force is doing its weekly maintenance phase. It'll work 1 week during the month, and it works Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they work from roughly 3 p.m. to 1 a.m., 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that is a task force put together of all the agencies in the county send representatives to the task force. And they split into 2 teams. They do a north team and a south team. I've spoken about this at council meetings before. So this week they're out. So you may see San Mateo Police Department police car. You might see a San Mateo police car right on Middlefield Road here in your area. That's because, again, we take agencies from all over the county, we split them in half, we take the south and the north, and they really kind of concentrate on certain areas. And they'll maybe work at San Mateo one night, and then they'll be in North Fair Oaks tonight, and then maybe one night in East Palo Alto, and then back, and wherever there's issues. Or if issues start to pop up, then they can all react and move to that area. So again, if you see an unusual, you see a Belmont police car on Middlefield Road or on El Camino, it's probably part of the gang task force. That's so they're out this week. And that's all I really have. Always happy to bring whatever information you ask for or need or want, but those are pretty much the stats that I'm used to giving you. If there's anything else you need, I'm always willing to try to get it for you.
So I think so the next report would be April then.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so, because this covers
Well, this
wait a
covers
second.
just basically
This is
December.
covering your December stats, right? Okay.
So if I come in April, I would give you the first quarter. I would give you January, February, and
Oh,
March.
perfect.
I
Yeah,
would have 90
that's-
days worth of stats to give
Okay.
you. If I came in April, I'll talk about the first quarter.
Okay, great. I had a question about the hydrant citations, or are they tickets or just?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fix it or move it citations, or?
They're
what do you-
parking citations.
Parking, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Were those around Edison?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have that breakdown as to exactly where they were. The hydrant citations for the most, I think that's not most, let me rephrase.
Around that sports,
No, actually, there was,
Sports
one of the
house?
focuses, is it Marlboro, Todd? What was that one? Is that Marlboro or? 2700 block, wasn't it? 2700 block of Marlboro. We received a complaint that people were constantly parking in front of this hydrant. We went out, kind of been focusing on that. There's also a hydrant over on the west side, over by the Sienna Center, that it seems like for some reason people think it's really not a hydrant, because probably across the street there was actually a fake hydrant. And we had ticketed some people, and that was a little issue, but we scored that away. I'd never seen a fake fire hydrant before.
I've
but-
never seen a fake.
Well, neither had we, and so we didn't really know how to identify one, but now we do. So we've taken care of all that, dismissed all those tickets.
Okay.
But, so, yeah, I mean, the only reason I know those 2 is because they were brought to my attention, and the rest are just as the guys cruise around, they know where the hydrants are, and they're keeping their eyes out.
I think next month, we're going to do like a report back on, so we might see you next month, actually, or we might get something, to get a report back on the Sports House review, which included some issues with the parking violations and parking in front of hydrants and stuff, so.
Right.
I'm not sure how we're going to incorporate your information, but I guess.
That will probably be most likely from Summer Burleson from Planning and Building.
Oh.
She'll probably just get the information from the
Okay.
sheriff's office.
Okay.
She contacted me prior to her last report.
Okay.
She and I worked on that last report before
Okay,
that.
great.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just had one other question, and it just happened a couple of days ago. What was all going on over at Fourth with the helicopters and everything?
We had a parolee we were looking for. He had been in custody for a very short period of time, and then he was out of custody for a short period of time, and then we got him back into custody. We'd hooked him up, and he escaped from us. So we had the helicopter in trying to help us out, looking in the backyards and things like that.
Okay.
So it was a parolee that was a wanted parolee that we had hooked, and he got away from us, and we got back on him.
Okay, thank you.
Question.
For the auto burglaries,
Yes, ma'am.
are they concentrated in one area, or are they, do you know off the top of their head?
You know, they're pretty well spread out. I come
Oh,
in
okay.
every morning, and I get briefing notes from the night shift of the day before, and I read kind of what happened. And I understand exactly what you're asking. I would have, before I was reading the briefing notes, I would have bet they were mostly concentrated to the south, you know, down in what we call the avenues down in there. But they're not. They're pretty well spread out. They're on Marlboro. They're on the west side. In fact, Sister Christina called me and said they'd had 2 in their parking lot. You know, just kind of. So they're pretty well spread out. But we did actually have some good luck on Tuesday morning. We arrested 2, not only car burglars but residential burglars who were in the process of burglarizing a house. And a neighbor called in. Once again, I can't stress this enough. It's the residents of North Fair Oaks who are going to catch these people for us. We don't know if a white Jeep's supposed to be parked in that driveway or not. You know what I mean? We're not used to our neighborhood. You're used to your neighborhood. And, a sharp neighbor looked up and saw this white Jeep pulling a driveway and goes, hey, they don't have a white Jeep. What's up with that? Called us. We moved in. The car was stolen. Both of the people had warrants. Kind of some fence jumping and searching and dog biting went on in that one. And 2 people went to jail off that on a really, really good case. They were burglarizing the house, actually, when we interrupted them. So it was a really good case.
Yeah, you guys moved very fast on that. That was right behind my house.
Was
so
it?
I
Good, I'm glad.
got to
Yeah,
hear
we
about
the guys flooded.
drama.
We got some good help from Redwood City and Atherton on that case. As always, we're always working so closely together. Atherton calls us, we flop into there, or Redwood. So, it's always a team sport down here, usually with Captain Masbridge. His guys are always trying to get involved in that. They usually drive them down the freeway, so they love getting involved in stuff like that. But it was a really good case.
Yeah, but it was quick action, but also that, there was a group of neighbors, especially in that area, who definitely watch out. They've got a network, a crime watch network, so definitely the kind of thing we recommend for other neighbors.
Absolutely. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. If something looks weird, call us. That's what we're there for. And the best example I use, a lot of people, oh, well, I don't want to bother you. The best example I used recently in a meeting is you go to the store and you buy food, you pay money for that food, you bring it home, you eat that food. You don't just let it rot. Oh, I don't want to bother the food. Well, your taxes pay for us. Use us. Make us, you know what I mean? That's the best way I can. Don't let us sit on the shelf and try to get ourselves eaten. Call us and make us come out and do some work. And say that car doesn't belong. It's weird. What's going on? And we'll come and look at it. We will, I promise.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
Oh yeah, I was a little confused when I saw this on the news. Is the Gypsy Hill murderer in the Redwood City jail, or is he in a jail in just San Mateo County?
Both. The San Mateo County Jail is in Redwood City.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So the sheriff's office has our jail here in Redwood City, and the Gypsy Hill murderer is in custody for us. And for those of you who don't know, the Gypsy Hill is back from the 70s. This guy, it's so much different now with the media and everything, but this guy, within a period of about 2 years, killed 5 or 6 young girls in the county. Pacifica, Brisbane, I think, had one. Millbrae had one. And a couple others. And it was just that, information didn't move like it moves now. And so this guy was killing these, and nobody was putting the cases together. We were able to make the case with some help from the FBI and a lot of agencies, but the Sheriff's Office Crime Lab actually made the case on DNA off of cigarette butts from the 70s that were collected at the scene, and we went back and looked at those, and they were able to pull the DNA off this guy who'd been doing time in Nevada and was transferred to Oregon to do some time on a case there. And when he got booked into the jail in Oregon, or the prison in Oregon, they took a DNA sample on him. And it went into the data bank, and it was a hit, and so they were able to grab this guy up. So they're going to try him on, I believe, 2 of the murders that they have solid DNA evidence on. And but they'll be able to clear several, and then Reno wants him for 1 as well.
New technology, I tell you.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing, yeah.
Well, thank you very much,
You bet.
Lieutenant Reed. Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Thanks. And our highway patrol's not, is he coming back in April? The highway patrol?
Most likely it'll probably be next month, but we'll discuss that during like the study session for schedule for 2015.
Okay, thank you. Code enforcement, you're up.
Good evening, council members. Some update numbers. If you'd like in the future, I can email these to you so you can see them before the meetings instead of being surprised.
That'd be great if it's, works for you, too. I think that's a good idea. Thank you. Oh, your spreadsheets are getting fancier.
Getting more information.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you
I
know, the
love
more
little pie charts.
you guys ask me, I need to know what you need, so then that way I can provide it for you. As of right now, you'll see that there are 48 complaints, but as of next week, there'll be a total of 102, especially in just in North Fair Oaks. We have targeted graffiti, we are targeting second dwelling units, illegal units, and the carport conversions. So if you notice, there'll be quite a few of those on the list. Those unfortunately take a lot more time than having somebody clean up their yard, because they have to go through a permit process, get a demolition permit. If they want to legalize it, they need to come to the planning to see if it can be legal and things like that. So those cases don't move as fast as I would like to see them move, but that's just because of the law and giving them the right to come and either appeal their citation or come in and try and get things legal or just demolished, but all requires a permit. So as it is, Kate Foster is still dedicated 100% to North Fair Oaks. She goes out twice a week just walking the neighborhood. She's gotten property owners that will actually come to her and go, okay, so before you write me up, let's go through my property and say what's wrong, so that way I'm aware. There are quite a few cases where I will be displacing families. And of course, they are not the best families to displace because they are either low or minimal income, always low Spanish speakers. I do try and work with the community services to try and say, you know, here's legal aid, here's shelters, but my folks most of the time won't go that route. But unfortunately, I would feel better if they were in a legal situation than not. I have one case where there's like 14 wires where they have all just hooked into one into another, and the heart palpitations when I see something like that because he had 3 kids. And, you know, but unfortunately, he was the first one to say, I better move, you know. But I am trying to work on this community as much as I can possible. So again, just like Tim, if you guys see or hear anything, I still need you guys to let me know. Even though we walk the neighborhood, it's still so much out there that I'm not aware of. And the more that is communicated back to me, the better I'll be able to serve the community.
Are these structures attached to homes?
It
or
can't,
garages?
it depends, because some of these structures are, for example, a front porch has been built around. So they've enclosed it, someone's living in there. The back, they tend to, so that it does not get seen from the street, it's out in the back. The garage conversions are my biggest concern, because there is no heat or whatever that's provided for these folks that are out there.
So what steps do you take
Leg-
when you have to move someone out of an illegal structure, illegal dwelling?
It's up to the property owner, because my direct enforcement is with the property owner, and then he needs to legally evict them or whatever, however the process is for him. But I ask for lawyers to be involved, just so that these people are just not kind of thrown to the street. I do ask them to go talk to legal aid and make sure that they have everything that they need in order to move on to the next place. And I even give them hints when you're going into a new place. You know, look and see if they have permits. Look and see if they have a CO, certification of occupancy. You know, they'll need those for rental situations. You don't need it for a home, per se. But if you're in a rental situation, you can always call the building department and say, is this legal? You know, you can even call me in code enforcement, and I have the same computer system. I'll take a look for them. But a lot of times, these folks just don't know that it's illegal until I'm there going, knock, 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 knock.
And is that because you're getting calls from the surrounding neighbors, or it's just?
I am
How do you
getting
find-
complaints,
Oh,
but it's not per se from the neighbors. There are folks that walk around the neighborhood that say, oh, I can see this from the street. And then I'll get the emails and stuff, and then we'll log it in.
and I had one more question on that.
Absolutely.
What's the timeline? How much time are they allowed to
Could be,
find an alternative, or?
well, see, that's the hard part, because when somebody is in an illegal dwelling, I ask the landlord to move them out as soon as possible. Only because if something goes wrong while they're in that building, for example, I'm not sure if you know that over on Pine Street, there was a house next to where the county has their giveaway down on Pine Street, where the railroad tracks are.
Okay.
So next door, somebody had rented out the basement. They had used a propane heater, and the 3 little kids died there. So my concern is when they don't have heat, they don't have electricity, they resort to those type of tactics. And now that it was 42 degrees this morning. How can you not ask them not to have some kind of heat and stuff for their kids? So for me, it's more important to get them out of that situation so that if they turn on the heat, because space heaters are the most cause for fires. And that's the first thing a landlord will give somebody that's in an illegal situation, is a space heater. So for me, I ask the landlord to please find them or get them out, give them legal notice, however it takes. But then once I know that the person is on an okay path, the landlord has 15 days to deal with me.
15 days?
So on Blenheim Avenue, the illegal structure, was that a gate being built at an apartment complex?
Honey, I have so many on Blenheim, you'd have to be specific. 2740 is the house that burned down. Is that Blenheim?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that has the gate around it?
I don't know, there's an apartment complex that was down the street that they were building a gate, and a couple of days later, it was just dirt again, so I was wondering if that was the illegal structure on there? Okay, thank you.
Yes, they have to come in and get permits and make sure that everything is up to code, especially if it's on a corner. I can't have a gate too high for a car that can't see around the corner. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Great.
Okay, I guess not. Thank
I'll
you
see you
very
guys.
much. Thank you. Okay, North Fair Oaks Forward report. Pat is going to report.
Good evening, council members. I'm Pat Brown. I'm with North Fair Oaks Forward, the outreach and community engagement team, and I have only one announcement tonight. We'll have a much more substantive report for you next month. Just wanted to remind you that on Tuesday evening next week, there will be the first of our 4 quarterly community meetings that we do each year in North Fair Oaks. The content of this meeting, which is going to be on Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8:30 in this room, will be really 2 things: a preview of the activities, projects, potential projects that are unfolding in North Fair Oaks in 2015. So there are a number of things that are going on, and we'll provide some information about those. And then the second thing is to specifically gather community input on the design of the welcome signs for North Fair Oaks community. So there is a public art project that is underway, and there are some designs that have been developed, and this will be an opportunity for the community members to weigh in on their preferences for those signs. So we'd like to certainly have you. You have a bit of a role in that meeting. I hope you'll be there at the beginning of the meeting, letting the community know about your initiatives for the year and your interests as council members. We'll have a very brief overview that Peggy Jensen will provide, and then we'll be breaking up into stations around this room so people can go to those stations and get more information. There will be a door prize that will be offered that evening, which is a one-year pass to the San Mateo County Parks. So that's a pretty nice door prize for people who are going to be here that evening. So that's my report.
27th at, sorry.
6:30 to 8:30. Okay.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, thank you, Pat. Okay, so that takes us to council member reports. Diane and Jose, would you like to report?
Do you want to talk about the meeting?
Or one of you, or both of you?
So this Saturday, the North Fair Oaks Youth Initiative will be hosting, it's a meeting for the youth that are in it, but also families are welcome to come. There will be the like special speakers. They're called Grupo Mac, and what they do is like they do you want to explain a little bit more? You don't remember? So basically, Grupo Mac, you know, they just get your confidence up, and you know, they just tell you to fight your fears and all that. So it's a great place to, you know, go and get motivated. So that's happening this Saturday from 9:30 to 12:30, and that's it.
Do you want to add anything, Diane?
Well, we just started a meeting for the OYEC conference, which will be, I believe, in April or May. I don't think the date's been picked.
It's May 16th.
May 16th. Oh, the date was picked. Okay. So we don't have that much information on it yet, except that it's on May 16th. And if you have a program having to do with education, you're welcome to set up a workshop. If you need information on that, I can give you some after. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'll report. Actually, there were a lot of work groups that have been meeting. Public art work group, parks work group, outreach. So things are still moving along with the different projects. My schedule worked out, so I was able to actually attend these meetings. They're usually during my work hours, but so it was good to kind of catch up with people on that. And then I'd like to report that as a follow-up to the Fifth Avenue Waverly Mental Health Association apartment or housing project, there was a follow-up meeting with the Selby Park neighborhood last night, and we actually sat here last night with Public Works to go over the proposals that were presented last year, and they pretty much are around parking, and ways to kind of slow down traffic. What are alternatives to prevent cut-through traffic through the neighborhood? So we had good discussion with them. And, signage. So there's a lot of ideas that we had agreement on. So we're going to see a lot of the neighborhood proposals, come to effect with the new project. And I thought it was a really good meeting, really good meeting. Irving, do you have anything to add?
Just kind of just clarify that, the main topics that were discussed yesterday at this meeting was curbing along Waverly Place, signage along Glendale Avenue, and then the idea of installing planters around the Selby Park neighborhood. So that was the discussion, and Public Works is taking all the input that the residents discussed yesterday, and hopefully there'll be some follow-up information from Public Works.
Right. And then one other thing, once the Mental Health Association completes their design plan, the neighborhood will be participating in the landscaping that's going to take place around the building. It's a big project for that area, for that spot. So I was very happy to see, to have the neighbors, actually get involved in that part of it. So it's good. Everything's good right now. I don't have anything else to report. Any other council members want to report on anything in particular? No? No? Okay. Okay. So I think then if I could entertain a motion to adjourn this part of the meeting.
I'll motion that we adjourn.
Okay, is there a second to the motion to adjourn?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so the meeting is adjourned for our business part.